up to you.
Welcome back to the Uninkable Dads podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at some budget decks. So don't worry, if you've not got Dumbo, we're going to show you how to be competitive without him. And that's pretty good, because for 60 quid a card, I would expect Dumbo to shuffle my deck, make me a coffee, and babysit the grandkids. But don't worry, we're going to show you how you can do all that and play Lorcana without spending 60 quid for some shiny cardboard. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, the man who organises birthday surprises as well as he develops deck lists. The single-handed reason why Dumbo is 60 quid a card, because he pulled them all.
Well, yeah, this is true.
The man, the myth, the legend, FPS Madness. How are you doing, sir?
I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. I don't know whether that means you really liked your birthday surprise or really hated your birthday surprise. It depends on how good you think I am at deck building. If you now tell me you really liked your surprise, then that means you're giving me a massive compliment on my deck building. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, I've stitched myself up there, haven't
I? Yeah.
No, I did. I had an awesome birthday.
No, good.
So it was very, very good. Thank you for arranging that. So yeah, that was my highlight of the week. So it was a 5-0 birthday for me at the weekend.
Nice.
And was able to spend it with my friends and some of the family. Both the two grandkids, the two girls, came along with me. We played a sealed tournament. Had a lot of fun.
So I'll get the question in there. How did you do in sealed?
Ended up winning it. So, it was my birthday. Everybody knew the script. So my opponents, made sure that I won. I really enjoyed it. The first time I played sealed in Lorcana, I think I lucked out on a kind of combo of cards that worked really well that I managed to see a lot of. But nice. Really, really, really good fun. Two grandkids there as well, so I could spend it with friends and family, and some good pulls as well. So really nice day. I think everyone enjoyed it. I think between us all, there were some very good cards pulled, and I think people really enjoy kicking off a new set with playing sealed. So
it's something that adds a little bit of difference to it, doesn't it? If you do a normal Friday night or a normal tournament straight after the set, everyone doesn't know what they're playing and no one knows what to bring. So sealed, I think, works quite well. I think that's the second sealed event I've done, and I always enjoy it. It's something different, it adds a new element to it. So hopefully, I think that'll be the way to go way forward. So we'll have to see on that one, but hopefully we can do that for each set.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has your week been?
Yeah, week's been good. Obviously we got fabled on Friday, so obviously opened up stuff. I did a live stream opening a case. Like I say, very lucky on that one. I'll cover that in a sec. But yeah, it was pretty good. And then Saturday didn't do much. Nice chilled day. I had a day with Little Lynn. The missus went off to see a show. So she went off with her mum and her nan and that for her nan's birthday. And I stayed at home with Little Lynn, which was nice. Nice chilled day. And then, it was the birthday sealed event on Sunday. So it was a pretty chilled weekend. And then I've spent pretty much the rest of the week sorting cards and listing cards. So I think that's pretty much all I've done all week. Is either putting cards in binder or listing them online as the spares. So it's been pretty hectic.
It's a job I've got to do. I've got a box sitting in front of me that needs to be sorted out.
Yeah, my office looked like I'd literally grabbed the luminary itself and just dumped it on the desk. So I was like, this needs sorting. So luckily I managed to get it all sorted. So we're all put away, all in the binders, all nice and tidy. I haven't built a deck. My deck is in bits, so I've got to redo that and sort a deck out for Friday. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I think
I've
you're
got to
the.
build I'm building a deck around this. You know, this is.
I was going to say, I think you're the only man I know with an enchanted of himself.
Yes.
So I'll let you off.
Thank you
Play it
very
in a
much, sir.
puppies deck. I'll let you play it. I'm convinced to get him to play that puppies deck. He still won't do it. So
Well, talking about puppies deck, it's not quite puppies, but it's older puppies. We might have a
older
deck
puppies,
list coming
grown-up
up a bit
puppies.
later.
Yeah, and there's a couple of decent ones on there, so we'll have that. So I got a little bit told off. I may have forgotten the flavor text last week. But I didn't forget. It was the flavor text was Bruno, obviously, and we don't talk about him, so therefore
There
I
you
didn't
go.
talk about him. He doesn't actually have a flavor text, so therefore I can't read it out. See, it's perfect. It weren't me. It was Bruno. So
Awesome.
we'll do the flavor text for
That's
this
the
week at the
first
end
one
of
that
the
I've
video.
got.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone got that one
First
right.
one
It was really surprising.
Everyone got it.
Yeah. All the comments of nothing was just perfect. But yeah, so good week all round. So yeah, the sealed event went down really well. And was there anything you found that particular tips or tricks for anyone that wants to take part in a sealed event?
Yeah, so sealed is quite different. So I think it's a really good way of playing, especially if you're a new player. You haven't got to have a deck. Yeah, you haven't got to you turn up, you buy the packs. So if you're going to buy packs anyway, you're buying packs, and then you open them, and then you put a deck together, and then you play. It's also a great leveler because nobody is there with a play set of Dumbos against you or anything like that, right? It's just up to what you open. But it plays quite differently. So there's quite a lot of standoffs in terms of not questing, waiting, trying to find the right time to quest. There's less removal available, so you're not worried that I'm going to quest with this character because it might just get taken out by removal anyway. So you can build a board state up to find the right time to start to quest. You're unlikely to have more than one, maybe two copies of a card in your deck.
Yeah.
So normally, sort of shifting and things is kind of out because the chances of having the shift target and then being able to shift on it. Having said that, my opponent in round one played the one cost Pluto and managed to shift the big Pluto in both games. So
bodyguard.
Yeah, twice. And I had to work out how to get rid of that, and I forgot. First time round, I actually forgot the fact that it heals 3 damage off it between turns. So I thought, I've got this. I put some damage on it next turn, and it started his turn. It's like, all right, heal the 3 damage. I'm like, okay. I've still got to get rid of 8 off the thing. Thankfully, I had these cards were absolutely MVP for me. So I had the Mulan in Amber. That's a 2/3. Quest for 2. Gives support when she quests. I had the Camilo Madrigal, who is a 4-cost 2/5. But at the start of your turn, you can choose to either give him Challenger +2 or an extra law. Those two together all day were absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And then this particular time, I also managed to draw into the 1 copy of Bell Accomplished Mystic that I had. So I was able to quest with Mulan. I'd selected the Challenger on Camilo, so he was a 4/5 effectively. Quested with Mulan to make him a 6/5. He ran into Pluto, put 6 on Pluto, took 3 damage himself, and then I played Bell to move the 3 damage back across. So, nice. So they were fantastic cards in sealed. But yeah, I think you want good stats.
Yeah.
You're looking for stats on the board to be able to take those favourable trades when you can. There's very little card draw, so anything that draws you a card is absolutely at a premium. and most decks little removal, but you seem to find it all.
Yeah, I got quite lucky with mine, to be fair. I think I had a bit of an unlucky game too, as I think it would have been me and you in the final. So I hit Final Cannons, Strength, and Smash, which for just straight up removal is just so nice. And then I managed to find I think it's it might be a 4-drop Elsa that you can exert her to exert a character, which come in really well, helped me out in quite a few games. And then I looked at Fabled before we went. I did a sort of little bit of a recce. I looked and went, right, what am I going to be pulling from these packs? And realised that the 1-drops just weren't really doing much. The only good one, well, there was a couple, but the only real good ones that stood out to me was Hidden Cove, because buffing something higher is always going to be good, especially in this setting. It's always going to be hard to remove. It's not the best location, but it could come in good in certain points. The Pluto, which obviously is basically ramp, you pay less to pay something bigger. That's going to be really good. And then what was the other one I had? There's one other, but I can't think what it was now. But either way, I looked at the 1-drops and went, there's not really any that I want to play. So I tried to build mine stronger from turn 3 onwards. I was like, no one's going to be slapping down like these 2/2 questers for turn 1 and turn 2. So the game's going to be relatively slow to begin with. So I think I ended up with something like 8 5/5s that quested for 2. So it was like, once I got to 4 or 5 ink, I was slapping down body after body, and it was difficult for my opponent to deal with. So a couple of the games I just didn't do anything. I managed to find Second Star to the Right and Under the Sea in my deck, which was really nice. I only had 1 copy of each, but you are talking about a 40-card deck, so you can get lucky, and I did. One of the games, the guy had gone, I can't remember who he was, my opponent had gone wide. I'd started to go wide. I drew into Under the Sea, sung that with my characters, got rid of pretty much his entire board. I then drew into 1 star as the next card, sung that, drew 5 cards, and then from there just went wide. Well, even wider. With the Elsa down as well, it was like he was in top deck mode and I wasn't, because obviously I'd just drawn 5 cards. So every time he played something, I just turned Elsa sideways, turned that sideways, and run one of my 5/5s in. I'm like, even if it trades, I don't care. I've just got more bodies to slap on the board anyway. So I kept doing that, and it seemed to work out. Also, I got a little bit unlucky, I think, in game 3, because it was 2-1. I lost to Chris in the middle game. I almost bricked. It was a bit of weird. My deck kind of just didn't do anything. It just stalled. So yeah, I lost that one. And then yeah, but apart from that, it was good. I won the other 2-0. So I really enjoyed it. I really do. I like Seal. The only issue is I feel like it's not something you can do halfway through a set or towards the end of a set, because most people started by that point, got all the cards they need, and feels a bit sort of doesn't really fit. Whereas at the start of a set, it's 100% good. You know. I think obviously there's a few places, like I believe Brotherhood in London were doing a sealed box event. So you bought a box and did a sealed from that, and you obviously then you got more cards to play with, and you can build better decks. So yeah, that's a potential, but obviously then the price is a lot higher because you're buying a box. So I think we did 6 packs, and I think 6 is okay. You could possibly push it to 8, but.
So we did 6 packs. So you're opening 72 cards. From that, create a 40-card deck, but you can use all 6 ink colors. No restriction on that. I thought. Yeah, I guess more decks. It then becomes maybe a little bit less variation. So if you're a better deck builder, you'll benefit
the more
from
cards you got,
those
the more
extra
deck
cards
building comes in.
Yeah,
it's like I think I finished building my deck within the first 5 minutes. I literally opened my cards, and as I was sorting them, I was like, "Well, that's been played. That's not. And I picked them up, went counted them, and I was like, "Oh, 43. I'll take those 3 out. Deck done." So, but I think that
Nice.
was where I was looking at what I could pull in Fable previously, so I knew roughly what I
Yeah.
would and wouldn't play anyway. So, but yeah,
I had
it was good.
absolute chaos on our table because I was trying to sort my deck, and Lily was, constantly asking about her deck, and I was trying to just go, just do that, just look at what key cards you want, start to separate those out,
Yeah,
look at her.
find a curve.
And then Tasman was with us, who doesn't play Lorcana, but she kind of like shiny things, so she kept picking up different cards that she thought were cool to look at, and it was like, hang on, is that my card? Is that Lily's card? Where'd you get it
What
from?
deck's this from?
What's it?
Is this in my deck pile? Is this in my non-deck pile?
Yeah. So that was all good fun. But yeah, I thought it was just enough. There was enough there that you did have to
Oh yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
6
craft a
works,
deck,
100%.
but there wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't
I don't think for me, I didn't feel
overkill.
like
I
there was
think
much
if you were a
flexibility
new
in it.
player, no. But I thought if you were relatively new to Lorcana, you could probably manage to do it as well as if you're an experienced player.
Yeah.
So I
that
thought
makes
it was
sense.
okay for that. I think, as you say, for
I
an
mean,
opening weekend sort of celebration of a new set, I think it's a great format. I think, yeah, as you say, if you're playing it a bit more competitively, yeah, I think you probably want
could
some
you
extra
have
packs.
tiered levels in sealed, or would that become pay to win? So, like, could you say you can do 6 packs, you can do 8 packs, you can do 12 packs? You all build the same type of deck, same time frame, or is that then becomes almost pay to win? Because if you're buying 12, you're more likely to hit the legendaries.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you give yourself an advantage with
But then you're
buying
paying
the extra
twice
packs,
the
but
amount.
then you're paying more money for it, and there's nothing to say that just buying the 6 packs you won't hit actually
No,
the win.
exactly. I didn't
The
get
winning
any.
deck. So
I didn't get a single legendary from my 6 packs for the thing.
I had to sleeve up.
I think you got an epic, didn't you? And I think someone else got. Yeah.
I had to sleeve up an epic to play, and I don't think I got any value out of it all day. But it was Beaking Undisputed,
damaging it for the sake of it.
Well, it was Beaking Undisputed, so I thought, I've got to play this, haven't I? It's removal, Yeah, and I think
the issue is you haven't got the first set of removal to remove the other card to get the good trade.
That was the problem. The only time I bought it out, they got like 4 cards on board. So I'm like, well, you're gonna get rid of that, aren't you? Because But...
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I did enjoy it, and I think it is definitely something that I want to do. Hopefully next set as well. We're only 9 weeks away, so
Indeed.
Get your pre-orders in there. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. So, but talking about packs, obviously I did my unboxing live on stream, and we did hit a Enchanted. We hit the Max Goof. But when we pulled the Max Goof, we also pulled a foil legendary in the same box, which shouldn't happen. As far as I'm aware, if you pull a full legendary, that should be the Enchanted in that box. So therefore, you shouldn't be hitting Enchanted at the same time. So when that happened, I said there's a chance here that this case actually has 2 Enchanteds in. And we did. We got extremely, extremely lucky. And I have got the clip from the stream for you guys now.
Chill, you can fly, Cruella, Prince Eric, Elsa, the Mob Song, Belle, John Silver,
A Maleficent. Very nice.
Oh.
Oh.
Sorry, don't wake the baby, don't wake the baby.
Wow. Yeah. Let's not scream too loud and wake up the 11-month-old in the room next door to my office, shall we? But yeah, we got extremely lucky, and we also managed to pull the Enchanted Dumbo. So, along with 3 legendary Dumbos. So, as Glenn was saying, unfortunately, there's no Dumbos out there because I managed to pull all of them. But yeah, it was that was a nice surprise. That was.
How did it feel in general? Because you opened, what did you open? Did you open the full case on stream?
Yeah.
You open a case on stream. So how did it feel opening those with the amount of reprints? Did it feel particularly different to opening previous set?
Yes and no. So I would say yes, in the sense of you're looking through the cards, especially the first few. You're like, it's just you've seen this card loads of times. It's a reprint. The fact the epics were in there made such a difference because you get to that towards the end and you're like, oh, is this a legendary? Right, okay, it's not legendary. Right, have I got an epic here? Because there's that chance. Whereas with the enchanted, they're so rare. You're talking one in a case. Well, potentially two, but one in a case is standard. So the chances of pulling them is 1 in 96 packs. So most of the time when you're opening your packs, even when you buy a case, there's one in there somewhere, but you're just like, oh yeah, whatever, what decent foil did we get? Whereas now the epics are there, and there's a good chance that you're hitting 2 in a box. The ratio is 1.5 in a box, so it's 2 in a box and 1 in another, so 6 in a whole case. So, you've got that chance. It adds something to it because you're like, as you get towards the end, you're like, oh, have we got one? No, right, okay, not this one. But even though a lot, and like you say, something silly like 83% reprints, isn't it? Or something like that. It's quite high.
Yeah.
There's still such, I don't know, it was exciting to open, even though there was that many reprints. And I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it's the epics. I think it adds a little bit of extra to it. And also, I think where the legendaries, even though the legendary reprints, the new legendaries still look really nice. So I got like a foil Hades and a foil Elsa in the new set, and they're stunning. Like the Elsa, the foiling on it is incredible. It adds a whole new layer to it, where the card now pops off because you've got the embossing bit where she actually stands away from the card, and then you've got the new texture of foil behind it as well. It looks so nice. So I think it did add a little bit. It'd be interesting to see if they carry on with the epics next set, which we're hoping they will. That I think it will really add into pack opening, because it's like now when we go to a Friday on the locals, it's like you've got the excitement that you might hit an epic. The chance of you hitting enchanted is so rare. It does happen in locals, but it doesn't happen very often. Whereas now that epic's there, you think if there's 16 of us going, we go for a box on a night. Because you've got 16 players, so that's 16 packs gone. 16 players means 8 packs in the prize pool. That's 24. That's a box. So we go for a box on a Friday night. So there should be 2 epics pulled on a Friday night. So you've got that chance of someone's going to be hitting it in their opening pack, which adds that little bit to it. So I think it is really nice. You've opened. You did pretty well, I think, for the amount of packs
I was
you've
just
opened.
thinking actually.
Well,
so I opened 20 packs between me and Lily on the day. So thank you, everyone. Geek Retreat, for the trove that you bought me for my birthday. So I had the trove, and then we had the 6 packs each for sealed. We opened 4 epics.
Yeah.
4 epics, 4 legendaries. We had an awesome day, actually, thinking about really it. Good pulls.
Yeah.
So
I think I had boxes when I did the case opening. What I seemed to work out, there was a pattern. If you pull 2 epics from a box, you seem to get 1 less legendary. So normally legendaries between like 4 to 6 in a box, whereas the ones that had the epics in, I found that I was getting 3 to 5, somewhere in that ratio. So there was actually one where I only hit, I think it was 3 or 4, and you feel like, hang on a minute, I'm missing a few here. But then you'll get the box where you're only hitting 1 epic, and then you've got like 5 or 6 legendaries. So it kind of it does balance out, but it's interesting to see the ratios. I think they've definitely played around with the legendary ratios, which I think is another reason which made Dumbo so hard to get, because it's hard to pull anyway, and it's a really wanted card. So now it's currently sitting at like £60 card, which is insane. I think that's the highest non-enchanted card we've had. So which makes some very, very expensive decks.
But don't rush out to get it. We'll show you some decks in a minute where you don't need Dumbo, but also obviously local game stores get their stock of product ahead of the general release for the larger retailers and online. So, over the next couple of weeks, there will be a lot more products that will be available, will be open. There'll be more Dumbos found. So, we would expect.
The price will come down.
He's not going to crash because he's
No.
been played in so many decks. He is still
And there's a
gonna be
lot of people that are probably still currently waiting to buy them as well.
Yeah.
So,
but it will come down a bit.
Will come down, yeah. But if you were quite lucky, like I was, and managed to pull an Enchanted Dumbo or an Enchanted Hades or an Enchanted Belle, there is a deck out there for you if you want to run all your special Enchanteds. So obviously this is a purple list, which is pretty much a very, very playable meta purple list. But I've done a little bit of messing around with this, and we've put in all the Enchanteds possible instead of the normal ones. Obviously, there are others you could add, so you could add Tamtar and stuff, but then it wouldn't be playable as such. So this is a highly playable meta deck. Very, very nice, very, very shiny. I mean, it comes with a hefty price tag, but I think if you wanted to completely enchant this deck and include the foils, you're probably looking somewhere around £6,200. So yeah,
£6,000. So you can buy a car or buy a deck. I mean, you can walk to locals, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
there's a train in there.
Yeah, get a lift.
I am gonna just say now, if anyone who does decide to do this, please double sleeve the cards, and that goes to you, Tom. All right, I'm pointing you out on this one. Played against Tom on Sunday after Sealed had finished, and his Hades was in there, and it wasn't even double sleeved. Like, how can you be playing with that card and not have it double sleeved? So yeah, that was one very, very expensive deck. But we do have a few for you that, as always, on the Uninkable Dads, we like to bring you budget decks. And when we say budget, we're not talking £20, because as you can see, a lot of the very top decks currently are very expensive. This is mainly Dumbo. When you think 4 Dumbos is £240, that's going to take quite a chunk out of these £400 deck lists. So that can come down. Obviously, like we say, we do have a deck list we can show you in a minute without the Dumbo in, which is still very, very playable. But we do have some wonderful budget deck lists that Grandad Glenn has come up with just for us.
Yeah, so these couple of deck lists are not my creation. So they are deck lists that I didn't come up with them, but they are deck lists that done very, very well at some large tournaments over the opening weekend. So this first deck, Pleakley is King, by Jason Torres. So I think this finished something like 5th in a 120 player tournament or something like that. So it did very, very well. We featured budget deck lists on the pod before, and we've managed to get them down to maybe the $50 mark. Lorcana isn't a budget game at the moment. If you want to play competitively, now obviously, if you want to play at home around the kitchen table with your mates, it really doesn't matter. You can play whatever you want. If you go into your locals, you can play whatever you want. It doesn't matter. In fact, our locals is now adding a casual side to our Friday night. So, we play, it is for fun. It is pretty casual on Friday night, but, people are playing meta decks. There is prizing at the end of it. So
the only reason we're doing that is because a lot of us are obviously practicing.
Yeah. But we're adding in a casual section, so people want to come along with who haven't got the decks, or they just want to maybe play their favourite puppies deck. Then they can just sit there and play and not have to worry about the rest of us who are practicing and pretending that we know what we're doing with this game.
We try.
So But I'm going to say that about $100 is a budget deck in Lorcana right now, if you want to be competitive. And this is a Sapphire Steel list. I think the The nice thing about Sapphire Steel, it's a combination at the moment, is you've got the ramp, you've got the removal, because you've got probably the two best removal cards in the game currently, which is Hades, Infernal Schemer, and Strength of a Raging Fire. And you've got some card draw. You haven't got huge amounts of card draw, but with Doc, Sail, Vision of the Future, Robin Hood, there's just about enough card draw in here. So it's it's a nice combination. It's got some interesting lines with the Aurora Dreaming Guardian, who's the 5-cost 3/5 quest for 2. She can be shifted, but there's no shift target for her in this deck, so you're playing her as a 5-cost, but she then gives your other characters on board ward.
Yeah.
So
quite powerful.
Quite powerful. Some big bodies in here as well. So you've got Scrooge McDuck, which is 5/5, Aurora, which is 3/5, Jasmine a 3/7, Robin Hood's 4/4, Tinkerbell 4/5, 3/6 in Hades, and a 2/8 in Vincenzo Santorini. It's a lot. That's a lot of willpower for your opponent to be trying to remove, especially if Aurora comes down and says, "Well, you're going to have to do that through challenging."
Yeah.
So I think if you get this deck rolling, it does look like interesting deck, very powerful deck.
Yeah, it's quite similar to the Ally deck, where obviously the Ally deck adds quite a few cards that then rack up the price. You've got the Scar and stuff to change. But I mean, this is a very strong, powerful deck. Obviously, a quick rundown for it. We've obviously got Captain Hook and Mulan, our 2 1-drops, which is the Challenger 2 Hook and the draw and discard a card on play Mulan. On turn 2, we're looking for Tipo or Sail to ramp. So Tipo will put a card into your inkwell. It doesn't have to be inkable. You get to pick. Whereas Sail, it does need to be inkable, but you do get to draw a card first. So Sail is normally the preferred one just because it gives you more options on card draw. You don't really want to be playing Doc on turn 2. Even if you had him on turn 2 and he's your only turn 2, you probably don't play it. You probably just ink and pass. Because he is going to be your late game card draw. Going into 3, there is only one 3-drop in this, which is the Bleakley. So he puts a character into your equal face down exerted. He can put himself in, so you don't have to put Hook in if you don't want to. You can put Bleakley in. Preferably, you want a quest with the Tipo and then put Tipo in, but there is options there. Going from there, you would then go straight to 5. Scrooge is in here. He's a 5/5 quest for 2, but you can go straight to 5 because Bleakley's obviously helped you ramp again if you did miss the Tipo, or you can even potentially be on 6 if you play Tipo when you were on 4. So you're jumping up pretty quick. So in the 5 slot, obviously we've got Aurora and Jasmine. Obviously one gives ward and one has challenger. Going into the 6, obviously we've got Robin Hood, who helps with evasives because he's a 4/4. And also if you don't have, I think if you have less cards than your opponent, you draw a card. With Robin Hood, 99%.
Yes, your opponent has more.
It's
worded that your opponent has more cards. Yeah.
Tinkerbell is obviously Giant Fairy, so that does 1 damage to all opposing characters on play, and then when she banishes the character, you do 2 to another one. So that's really going to help with that little spot removal, especially when you've got Smash and Strength of Raging Fire in here to help pick things off. Obviously, Hades is just puts whatever card you choose as long as it doesn't have ward straight into the inkwell. Vincenzo is a 2/8, comes down, quest for 3. And when you play this character, you deal 3 damage to a chosen character, which is very nice. That is a very, very good answer for Dumbo. The only problem is it's a 7-cost. So even if you double ramp, you're not doing this till turn 5. The chances are they don't have a Dumbo on board at that point anyway. If people are going to be playing Dumbo, they probably play it where they can utilize it straight away. So even if it does get removed, it's too late. And then a few actions. So we've got vision and future, so you can look at the top 5 to really narrow down what you want to find out. Obviously, you don't really want to be drawing into Tipo and Mulan in late game, so this helps find those bigger cards and impact the board. And the last action is Beyond the Horizon, which is each player, chosen number of players, so it can be you and your opponent, or just you or just your opponent, discard the hand and draw 3 cards. So if your opponent's got 7 cards in hand, you can say, well, let's get rid of them, draw 3 others. They still get to draw 3, but they are still a net down 4, so it's always going to, help. Or the other thing is, if you don't have any cards, or if you have 1 card, you can do it for yourself and draw more cards. So there's loads of options in here, and it does look like a very powerful deck. It's one as well that I think people can customize themselves to fit their own playstyle. If you don't like the Pleakley, you can potentially drop him, Scrooge. There's a few bits that you can play around with to really fit your playstyle on this deck. So I think it's really nice.
So the only thing to me on this is that it's quite thin on that 4-drop slot, right? Because you're normally going to ramp on 2, go into 4. We've only got Scrooge McDuck here, so if we miss Scrooge,
see, I'd be tempted to drop the Pleakley and put in the other Scrooge that does the ramp on play. So when you play him, you put the top card of your deck in. Is it 5? Is it? I thought it was 4.
Yeah, it's a 5 cost. It's a 5
okay.
cost. So it's obviously worked. Yeah, it's obviously worked very well for Jason, but I just wonder whether
because
Jason was double ramping
4, didn't you?
At times. I wonder whether there was some ramp to 4, and then on that turn 3, when you've got your 4 ink, whether it was a ramp again
1 drop,
and
maybe.
visions, or Pleakley in a 1-drop, something like that.
Yeah,
Pleakley in a 1-drop would seem to be quite expensive.
The normal we're used to seeing is obviously, like you say, ramp to 4, play something impactful, which is what Purple does. It plays a genie, it plays Iago. They've got a load of turn 4 impactful cards, but I don't think there is many in this that you'd really want. I mean, you could put the Stitch in there, which is 4. I can't think of many other cards you'd put in on turn 4. So maybe it's just a case of, if I've got Scrooge, I'll play it. But if not, I should have one of the lower ones. I'll just play something out and then go from turn 5. But yeah, that does seem like a little bit of an oversight. But then it's also, what would you take out to fit in more 4-drops? So,
yeah, it obviously worked, as I say. Did very well.
So going from there, we have puppies. Well, not quite. It's grown-up puppies.
Yeah, grown-up puppies. Sea Dogs by Michael Chow. I apologise if I got your name wrong. Second out of 180 players at I believe it was a 6K event in the US. So, nice. This has performed very, very well. $110, as was at the time. I think Under the Sea has crept up a bit since then, being the only kind of board wipe left in the game. But yeah, this is what I really liked about this is this is an aggro deck with a board wipe. I think that's one of the first times we've really seen that.
Yeah, I was just looking at it thinking, why is Under the Sea in it? But yeah, I mean, I suppose it makes sense, because if you come up with aggro versus aggro, at least then you can, wipe theirs and then quest. But
yeah, I think that's the idea of this deck. Actually, I think given the lack of removal in the game, this deck's trying to take advantage of that and saying, well, I can just flood a bunch of characters on the board,
because that's one thing.
Wipe your board. Yeah, and then I just tap them all to wipe your board with Under the Sea. And what are you going to do? I'm just then questing into game.
It's one of those things with this deck. It can go wide very, very, very quickly. There's loads of options to get loads of cards out, but the issue is none of them really quest for much. So they're all like 1s. You've got Lady and a couple others that quest for 2, or there's conditional ones like you get more if a tramp's in play and stuff like that. But a lot of them is just questing for one, whereas the Amber Steel deck, there's a lot of cards that question for two. Whereas if you can go, okay, well, I'll just go wide, you're going to start to go wide. Well, I can sing Under the Sea, wipe all your one drops. So there goes Daisy, there goes, quite a lot of the new Nala, a few cards that are really going to be their massive lore gain. And then at that point, you can say, well, now I can race you because I've got these cards and you don't, sort of thing. So, yeah, I think it's quite a nice inclusion.
And I mean, you do have 6 2-questers in the deck.
Yeah, they are there. They're just later.
Ladies are conditional. Yeah, and then you've got Go-Go. So, again, playing very much into this meta where, damage is potentially being left laying about because of the lack of removal. Go-Go can come in and, potentially gain some lore very quickly. So I think it's a really interesting deck, and I think if we think about a meta that could be quite heavily blurple, the ability to just go really wide against blurple, and then with the Under the Sea that can potentially deal with, the Genie and the Elsa.
You've also got Scrumping there as well that gives minus strength, so you can deal with some other bigger things as well. Yep. It's harder to pull off, but there is a possibility. Yeah, I think it's
really like this.
It's a good inclusion. I think it really helps the deck. I feel like the issue it had before was they start to build a board and you build a board, and when you do quest, they can just start answering things, whereas that Under the Sea could really, really slow them down. So, and like I said, with Go-Go, and you've got like Tramp in here, where you can get +1 for a character for each card you open play. You could purposely set out a certain amount, so that way you hit for one less than a character gets banished for, and then play Go-Go to get the maximum amount of that character. So there are some big characters that are going to be able to hold quite a lot of damage. Monstro, for instance, TikTok. He's a 7, so there's a potential Go-Go could be doing extremely well. I think this is a really nice deck, and like I say, he obviously did very well with it. He comes second. I think it's nice. And the thing is, this deck is used to running a high uninkable in that slot anyway, because Chunabog would have been there, and he's a 9 cost uninkable.
9 cost.
So it's not like you're throwing in a massive uninkable that wasn't there anyway. So the deck's kind of used to running a high-end brick that could. This is probably less of a brick than Chernok was, in fairness, because you don't want to see him until late game, whereas if you see this, you can just leave it in your hand until you need it. So, yeah, I like it. So, going from there, obviously we have our Dumbo replacement deck. So we've obviously discussed how important, well, not important, but how expensive Dumbo is for this set, and how much it's affecting. I'd say it's affecting the meta. It is, because if you look at a lot of tournaments, he's in quite a lot of the top decks. But we don't think he's 100% necessary, and if you can't afford to get Dumbos, and like I say, I wouldn't advise going out and buying £240 worth of cards when the chances are he is going to come down. If you're not in any rush, if you're not going to a massive tournament tomorrow and you can wait, I would advise waiting. Is obviously our Dumbo replacement deck. So this is a Blurple deck identical to how it would be run, apart from instead of Dumbo, we have Yusma. Dumbo has the potential of drawing more cards, obviously, but Yusma can do the same thing. You can get a choice and play it at the right time, and you can draw cards from it. It's been doing extremely well. A lot of people have been using it. I think it's mainly been used in Amethyst Steel more than Blurple, but it can do a job, and it can do it very well. This was our recommendation. If you want to run Blurple, but you can't, either don't have the Dumbos, don't want to buy Dumbos, whatever reason, this has a good chance of actually been able to hold its weight.
So this is Yzma Conniving Chemist. That's the 4-drop inkable 3/3. The quest for 2, but you can, instead of questing, you can exert the card, and if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. So yeah, as you said, purple steel, it works in really nicely because you are really playing out your hand in purple steel a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So then she can quest and you get full value. Not quest, you can exert her and you get full value from 3 cards. But the fact that it's a 2 quester as well, I just think is so
It
nice,
gives you
because
options, doesn't it?
yeah, if you've got cards in hand and you don't need to draw, or you're not going to be able to get down to get use out of her, she's still questing for 2. She's still a 3/3 body. So yeah, I think she's definitely a good card, and can do a lot of work.
So I will update the deck list, so it's online. So if you are looking for this deck and it'll be online, I will make one small change, which is I'd probably drop the Elsa and put in Monstro, just mainly because it's going to help with dealing with the aggro, and also with the Yzma, Monstro can be even more powerful because you can start using Monstro, deplete your hand, use Yzma, get 3 cards, and carry on using Monstro. So I think he should be in there for this. So I will update that, take Elsa out. Elsa is very nice, but the issue is she's a very heavy 8 cost that could brick your hand. And when you don't have loads and loads of card draw, you could struggle. But yeah, I think, like I said, the main reason Dumbo's doing so well is it can do what Yzma does, but also gains the lore at the same time, which I think is the thing that makes Dumbo so good. You're drawing cards and gaining lore, whereas this, you either draw cards or gain lore. So I can see why Dumbo's good, but obviously this will do and do a very good job. It's just going to be, you got to weigh up whether you want cards or lore. So yeah.
And if you've got any alternative deck lists or any budget deck lists, do let us know. We send them to us. We'd love to have a look at them. Drop it in the comments. And if you've got any deck lists that you want us to take a look at, very happy to do so. We'll have a look at the deck list. If it's something that is a bit different or we think is worth talking about, we will happily talk about it on the pod. And let us know what you're most pleased about pulling. What's your best pull? What cards have you got hold of at the start of Fabled that you're really happy about? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're not already subscribed, do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're able to exert that like button, then we very much appreciate that. It helps out the channel a great deal.
Yeah, no, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone that has recently, subscribed to the channel. We went from not struggling, but creeping up on the 200 mark to, we've broken the 300 now and we're pushing on. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently. And if you're not, please hit that button. Like I say, we're a podcast channel. We're not a video channel. So it is harder for us to get our videos out there. So if you are subscribed, it does massively help. So we're also going to look at, now we have friend of the podcast, Volt. No, hang on, I've got to get their name right. Don't spoil this bit. You know that. I can't think. I always get it wrong.
The laser outlet.
That's the one.
The laser outlet. So yeah,
one. I always go to call it the outpost, but it's not. It's outlet. Yeah. So obviously, I'll leave a link to their stuff in the description. But I know he's looking for an Amber Steel deck. Now, I know he wants to be playing around with the old Circle of Life. So we thought we'd do a quick coverage on this deck and our short, quick potentials and how good this deck really could be. I think it's going to take a little while to get it worked out, but I think if we get someone on it, I think this could do extremely well. So in here, obviously, we have the 10 cost uninkable 10/10 Mickey. Giant Mouse, I think he's called. He is a bodyguard. He quests for 5. But when this character is banished, you deal 5 damage to each opposing character, which is a huge amount of damage. There's not much that would survive that. There are cards, obviously, in Blackpool. You've got Monstro, like we say, TikTok, and there are things that could survive it, but not a lot. Like, if you look at this deck itself, you're talking 2 cards that would survive it. That's quite obviously hard. They've got to hit it for 10. And they may be tempted to leave it or Hades it or something like that. So depending on what you're playing against, we are not going to give them even an opportunity. So the game plan here is to use Mulan, Bolt, Namari, potentially Scar. That would be a bit more late game, but there's potential with Scar as well to discard Mickey into our discard. So the idea is you have you keep Mickey from the mulligan and have Mulan. You play Mulan on 1, discard the Mickey. So Mickey's already in your discard, ready to go. From there, you would then play either of the 2-drop singers. Both of them have singer 4. On turn 3, you'd play another 2-drop singer. This is why we have 6 of them, to try and really get that as consistent as possible. Obviously, you can go into 3-drop and 4-drop, but we're trying to keep it as low as possible. Turn 4, you'd play Minnie Mouse, and then from there, we get ready for Circle of Life. So on turn 5, you would use the 2-drops or a combination, however, the 1, 2, and a 3, however you want to do it, to sing Circle of Life. From that, you would then bring Mickey back from the discard onto the board. At this point, you then can make a choice. If your opponents have no way of answering it, it's definitely going to be sticking. If they're playing blue, but they're not anywhere near 7 ink yet, so that they can't Hades it, you can leave it on board and start questing with it. It gains 5 lore. But if you need to, we can use Minnie Mouse and her ability. When your character's name Mickey Mouse gains support, so when you do question Mickey, you can give something 10. So that Mulan that you've got on board now slaps for 12, which is going to be massive. But a second ability, which is the one that really makes this pay off, is whenever this character quests, you may banish a chosen character 5 strength or more. So we can just banish Mickey straight away and do 5 damage to every card. Obviously, if they don't have loads of cards on board, you could question Mickey, give that 10 support to their character, because support can choose any character, and then question Minnie, and banish their character. So support can be yours or opposing. So you can use this as I target yours and get rid of it, and you can do that pretty much every turn that Mickey and Minnie survive. So the longer they're on the board, the more and more chance you got of controlling that board. But obviously you have to pay attention for Hades and stuff that can just get rid of Mickey without having to banish it. But that, if you can get those 2 down, that is it could be quite unstoppable. It could be quite hard to deal with. Like I say, apart from Hades or Into the Unknown or something like that, I'm struggling to work out a way of getting rid of Mickey without taking 5 damage to everything on board.
Yeah, well, I am. I've been testing Purple Steel this week, which has been going really well. But I'm looking at that and going, how the heck do I answer that early in the game?
Yeah, I think one of our locals, Tom, as well, was also playing with the combo of Mickey and Minnie. I think it was one of those ones, he was like, oh, it's okay. And then I went, you do realise support you can give to their character as well, right? And he was like, what? I was like, yeah. So you can use, even if you're using this little Mickey down here and add in an extra 1 to them, which could make the difference, taking them from 4 to 5. And then you can then use Minnie to banish it. And it was like, that's actually better than I thought. And then when you realise that you can banish your own Mickey and do 5 damage to everything, that really does stack up. Like I say, it's a difficult character to get on board. That's why Circle of Life's in here, to try and get him out early. But even if you can't, Circle of Life can hit into quite a number of very good characters in this. So has definitely potential. We have multiple ways. We've got Mulan, we've got Bolt, and Namari as chances of putting it into the discard. I think that potentially you could look at, is it Desperate Plan? Draw and discard as many as you like.
Yep.
So if you've got 4 cards in hand, you can play Desperate Plan, draw 4, and discard 4. Or no, you discard them first, don't you? So you discard them first.
and then draw that
so
many.
say you had 2 Mickeys of Vincenzo and a Tink in your hand, you could use that, discard all 4 of them, and draw into 4, which is also another way of getting this into the discard. The only issue is it is uninkable, so it makes it a little bit harder to fit in. Yeah, I think this it has a little bit of high roll potential. Like, you have to get a little bit lucky with this, but I think once you've got that combo in board, especially if they're not playing blue, I don't know how they answer it. If they are, it's going to be a little bit easier, especially purple decks, but it's still not going to be easy by any means. So, yeah, it's one that I think needs testing, definitely. I think a few of these cards you could probably play around with to fit your own style, but the mini Mickey package with a few powerful cards in between for Circle of Life could definitely work.
Yeah. Really interesting deck, and quite a different deck. We haven't seen this sort of combo kind of deck really be competitive yet in Lorcana,
No,
to be honest. So
no, I think we're going into more of a synergy set on where everything needs to be working together in some form to get the most out of your deck. I mean, you could start putting in more Mickeys, for instance, to help this. There's loads of different things you could do with this. This is very early in designing it. Like I say, no one's really working this one out at the minute, but I think with a little bit of time and a little bit of testing, unfortunately, we do only have 9 weeks of this set. If it was longer, we may start to see this towards the end. But the fact of doing 5 damage to everything is very, very powerful. So if you can get that combo down, it's going to be quite hard to answer. So, yeah, different one for you. Okay, so we just wanted to give we mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but a quick shout out to obviously our local store, Geek Treats. So as we said, from this Friday, so Friday the 5th of September, we are starting casual play. So on Friday evenings, running alongside our competitive will be a casual evening. So if you're new to the game, you don't have many cards, or even if you've got loads but you don't feel comfortable in a competitive scene, there will be the casual side of things as well. You're going to find some players from the competitive who just want to play something different for a while and will drop in and out. This also is quite nice for the kids. If they don't fancy playing in the competitive, they can play in the casual. I think the only difference is you wouldn't get the league promos, but you still get entry into the pins and the badges and box and law counters and all that. So we do that as a raffle at the end of each night. You'd still be included into all of that. The only difference is I think you don't get the league promos because you're technically not playing casual side of league. But apart from that, everything else is there, and I think it's a nice idea.
Yep. So if you're in the Essex area of the UK, we're in Chelmsford. We're right behind Chelmsford train station, opposite the bus station. So very easy links to get there. And yeah, if you're new, say FPS said, come along. You can play casually. You haven't got to worry about that. But we've got a very friendly sort of locals anyway. And, if you're looking for some advice on building a deck or trying to get into Lorcana and just understanding the game, come along on a Friday night. There'll be people out there that will happily help you out and support you. And you can just play in some of the casual play. And then when you feel comfortable enough, you could play in the league as well. And test yourself in there and come and beat us all.
Yeah. I think this is a good way as well with rotation. If you're not sure what cards you do and don't want to play, or not sure what cards are rotated in, you can always bring along your deck. You're not going to be able to not play. You're just playing casual. So if you're not sure, you can come along, give it a go, and we can soon let you know. But like I said, there's enough of us that have loads of spares and bulks, and so if anyone does need any cards for decks and stuff, just come in and speak to us. There's enough of us there that we can help you out. And yeah, I might build 2 decks. I might build because the thing is as well, where I'm going to things like Cardiff and Action, they're going to have Infinity days as well. So for me, I could build my constructed deck and an infinity deck, and then I can choose if I'm going, no, I'm going to concentrate on my infinity deck tonight. I can go play in the casual side because you can play infinity. So then I can test that out and just play around with all cards. And if I want to play competitive, I can go do core constructed. So it gives everyone a nice option. So yeah. So yeah, that's obviously keep retreating, Chelmsford, as Glenn said.
See you there.
Okay, so that is all we have for you this week. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. And as I said before, a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't, please hit that little button for us, or exert that button, as Glenn said earlier. So thank you very much, and it's time to roll up our playmat.
Pack away the dice.
And remember, stay unequal.
See you next time.
Doing today? Listen to the show and learn to play. Whether you are new or you're a pro, I'm sure we have something to show. Amber, green, red, and steel, then purple, blue, complete our wheel. Listen and you'll learn some new strats to help you win some championship mats. So what in color are you gonna choose? Inkable or uninkable? It is up to you. Choose inkable or uninkable. It is up to you.